afternoon. At the tone, Pacific Daylight Time will be 5, 4, and 30 seconds.
What? Oh my God, we're having an earthquake. Wait a minute. Hold on. Can you feel that? Yes, I sure can. Okay, this is interesting. There go the lights. Oh.
We are here at the Scotts Valley Library. It is the 9th of October, 2019. We're here with Clio Bavalee, here to talk about the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. Thank you for being here.
All right, thanks.
Can you start by telling me how long you've lived in Santa Cruz?
45 years. Yeah.
Are you from California originally?
Yeah. So, well, I was born in Illinois, but I moved to California when I was 1, so I don't remember Illinois.
That's good. All right. Would you tell us your earthquake story?
Earthquake story. The reason I think it's interesting is that I lived right in the forest of Nicene marks. So I think I was probably one of the people who lived the closest to the epicenter of anyone around, pretty much. And I'm also really happy because I was outdoors during the earthquake, and so I was not in a building, and so I got to really experience what the earthquake is like in the forest, right where it was happening, instead of being in a building, which with all the aftershocks I experienced as being really, really different.
So what was it like to be in the forest at the time?
The first thing was hearing the sound coming through the trees, and my daughter said it sounded like rushing water, but for me, I heard squeaking wood. It was going, coming as a wave over the mountains toward us. And that was just like, what is this? And then, I don't know if you've seen an old film projector break, but like the image starts going really fast, like as the film strip is flapping. Mm-hmm. And it was like that, only sideways. Like I couldn't even focus my eyes because all the trees in the forest were vibrating from side to side, like really, really fast. And then a huge cloud of dust rose up from the dirt, like just like poof, like somebody beating a big rug. And so I did, just huge cloud of dust rose up. And at the time I was outside right next to our little place. I lived in a dome tent for a couple decades. So that's why I say I wasn't in a building. It was, back in the day. And so I actually realized I was not going to be able to get to my children. I couldn't walk on this shaking. So I dived in a ditch, actually, because I wasn't sure if like a tree would follow me or something. And it seemed like it went on a long time. I still have no concept of how long it went on. Everybody probably says that, like, is this ever going to end? And I heard what was hilarious was we had a hammock in our yard where the kids would play. They had tree ropes and trees and stuff. And one of them was going, stop it, because she thought her sister was like holding the end of the hammock and shaking it. And so we all have that memory of them going, stop it, like while the earthquake's happening. So that's basically the actual occurrence. Right. And I just felt, even to this day, this gratitude that I was actually in the forest and could experience what an earthquake here probably was like to people before there were buildings in Santa Cruz, like the native people. Like, this is what it feels like to be in nature in an earthquake. And after that, there were so many aftershocks that's when life started getting really disconcerting. I think they said there was 15 or 1,800 aftershocks or something over the next week, and it just felt like life was never going to be normal again. Like every time you'd sort of forget about it a little bit, there'd be another little rumble. And our next door neighbor up the hill from us had a big house with big hallways with tons of photographs and pictures all over the walls. And every time there was an aftershock, you could hear more glass breaking. It was just like every time. It was, and then all the neighbors, that one big house had a huge lawn that was open to the sky, and all the neighbors in this little neighborhood, it's a little neighborhood that's on a road that's grandfathered in the middle of Nicene Marks. There was a little handful of houses. We all came out of our houses and slept for that night on this lawn, like camping, because it was so frightening to be alone, and you wanted people, and everybody brought out of their freezers everything. Oh God, we had this huge pot of frozen spinach and hot dogs and, just like ice cream. So that was dinner, and sharing with all the neighbors because nobody wanted to go underneath anything. So then I think the next day I went to town. I had an appointment. I did not know how big the event was. I had no idea. And I got to town, started to go into town, and just even from Nicene Marks into Soquel, and all the traffic lights were out and everything was closed. And I was pretty clueless, really, because I guess the radio had been going. One of our neighbors was really pretty crazy about keeping the radio on all night long, but I didn't listen to it. It sounded more like an emergency broadcast kind of thing than any kind of coherent description of what had just happened. So after that, I think it got maybe even more scary in town when I started being inside buildings for some of the aftershocks, and I really thought, wow, this is why everybody's so terrorized right now. Because even though the forest had been like in a totally dreamlike, unreal shaking and sound and dust storm, nothing really got broken in nature. But then when you're in buildings, there's so many more things that seem like, I did jump in a ditch, so obviously I thought maybe a tree would follow me, but they didn't. And so there's a lot more, it seemed a lot scarier when you're in a building and there's more things that can break and fall. So.
Did the earthquake impact your life?
Not a whole lot, except for just that I still just treasure that memory of being in nature, experiencing that. I've never seen anything like that, or I haven't really heard of anyone else's reports of actually being somewhere besides in buildings or town during an earthquake. So yeah. It hasn't really, except for having like a really cool memory.
So what happened in the following days and weeks? Were there any adverse side effects or impacts?
It was like I say, there was so many aftershocks for the following week or two, I don't know, that everyone was so hyped up and insecure. It's all anyone could think or talk about. It's very unsettling. And I wonder how long it took for me to actually feel like secure on the ground again after that, because think about 1,000 or more aftershocks within a week, and you just really felt as though, and they did start spread out in time, longer and longer between them, but every 20 minutes it's shaking a little bit again for like a week. You're just like, it's never going to be normal again. So.
Do you think the earthquake impacted the Santa Cruz community?
Yeah, I do. I think it definitely became a part of its identity. It's also kind of strange for me now to be so many years away from it, because like there's that one little memorial tower thing on the Pacific Avenue downtown that, you know, I remember people dying, and I remember the piles of bricks, and now there's these commercial stores, and there's you know, this little tiny monument to the people that died in the cafe, and people just walk by that all the time and have no idea. The Cooper House, oh my gosh, what a loss. That was just such a tragedy that it went so fast, and the community felt like it was a sort of maybe a bureaucratic decision to do it. This is what the belief was that it was a bureaucratic decision to do it so that FEMA money could be gotten. And I'd say that was a big cultural loss. It's another one of those things where it's hard to believe that I've been here so long that there's people that don't even know how cool that building was. Like, to walk around and go in the little stores that were in these little rooms that were some kid's bedroom before it was a store, and the band that always played out front, whatever.
You mentioned it was strange to have the distance now between the earthquake and present time. What's it like to reflect 30 years later?
It seems really fresh. Thinking of the actual, I think it's still in my body, the actual experience of the trees shaking and the sound of the trees squeaking and hearing my kids arguing. It seems like yesterday. I can feel it in my body still. I think it solidified Santa Cruz a lot too around emergency preparedness, and that probably still hasn't gone away because it's gotten hopefully integrated into emergency preparedness. I mean, we all get alerts on our phone now and all this stuff, and things like the earthquake are probably part of the impetus for Santa Cruz. Some people in Santa Cruz remember it enough to implement these things now. Earthquakes of that magnitude are so infrequent that I don't think any of, even though I say I remember it in my body, I don't think any of us really feel like it's going to happen. Really, it's just too unreal. Right. For the fabric of our reality to move. It's just, I don't know if we'll ever really be ready for that to happen again.
Do you take precautions against natural disasters now?
Yeah, I do. You know, we store water, and personally, we have a battery backup system in our house that'll last for 5 days if the power goes out. We're on solar. We have the fortunate enough to have been able to install that. And basics. We have a few buckets of oatmeal and rice and stuff, at the risk of sounding like I'm paranoid or whatever. Yeah. But and knowing our neighbors, that's one thing that it really teaches you that even if I don't have a need, like I don't have pets that might need fed or something, someone else will. Or it's just really good to get to know your neighbors. That's really what matters in this kind of situation. I mean, it sounds so trite, I guess, but it's true.
Yeah. Do you feel like the earthquake really brought people together?
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, crazy. That was a huge effect of it.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that we haven't covered?
There's a museum I went to. Can't remember where it is. San Jose, maybe, where they have an earthquake that you can stand on it and it shakes you, and they simulate various earthquakes that have happened throughout the world. And I think we should get one of those in Santa Cruz to show people how strong the earthquake was, because like I say, you can't really, I think they had a thing where kids could build towers with blocks, and then you could turn the earthquake on and watch your blocks fall down. And I think that would be really cool to have in Santa Cruz. Yeah, I think it. I don't remember where it was. That's the only problem for your. But you could look it up and figure out where the earthquake simulator is.
It does sound familiar. Actually.
Yeah. Just that the reason I came to do this interview is because of where I lived. I just felt like there's going to be a lot of stories about things falling off shelves and refrigerator door opens and all the food falls out on the floor and things like that, jumping under tables, whatever. And yet I feel like, did the Ohlone people, I think that's the name of the tribe that was here, did the native people, did they have an earthquake like that? And did I experience what they experienced? That is amazing.
It sounds like a fairly magical, not like happy magical, but like a very surreal type of experience.
Yes, I would say it was magical pretty magical and surreal, definitely. And even though I was out in nature, I didn't even have a rock slide falling on me, so I had it pretty good. I was able to have a pretty awesome experience.
That's amazing. Well, if there's not anything else you want
No,
to add,
I think that's it.
then thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story with me.